And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Charmian Redwood, who during her near-death experience met her higher self and Jesus. Charmian, thanks for joining me and welcome.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Jeff. This is a great honor. Thank you.
Well, it's my honor to have you. And if you don't mind, let's start on the day that your NDE started and go from there.
Sure. It was 44 years ago. It was after the birth of my twins. That's how I remember when it was, because it's how old they are. And I'd given birth to twins, and basically everything that could go wrong with the birth did go wrong with the birth. So I ended up 10 days later being rushed back to the hospital with severe blood poisoning. What had happened was that I had 3 tears as they were pulling Jenny out. They were pulling her out with forceps. And the guy that was doing the delivery was an intern, and he really didn't know what he was doing. And he should never have been doing a twin birth. But it was a Sunday, and all the real doctors were at home. So I got the intern. So he didn't see one of the tears. So bottom line, my pelvis completely filled up with blood that they didn't know about, and it got infected. So I had to call my local doctor, who's absolutely wonderful in England. We have the best doctors who come to your house. It was 10 o'clock at night, and he came into my bedroom. I was in bed, and he could smell the infected blood. And he found this hole this big, full of infected blood. And he said, "You've got to go back to the hospital." And I said, "Oh, no. They tried to kill me the first time. There's no way I'm going back there. They'll definitely kill me the second time." Anyway, he said, "No, this is serious. You got to go back." So they rushed me to the hospital, the ambulance. And as I was going into the hospital, there was no fear at all. I really want to live. There was no drive to be alive. I just knew that something was happening, and I was slipping into this really deep space, and it wasn't scary. So we did all the checking, and they put me in bed. Well, that same night, I just felt myself leave the body. I drifted up, floated up out of the body. I'm looking down from the ceiling of the hospital room at the body, and nothing of me was in that body. All of me was the one that was looking down. So that was the first surprise, was I realized that the body is just the house that I live in, but it's not who I am. So then the next minute I'm floating away out of that hospital room, and I'm just going up and up and up. There was no fear. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew there were angels there. And I just floating up. The next minute, I'm surrounded by golden light. And everything that you could ever want was in the golden light. It was love, it was joy, it was peace, it was total bliss. As soon as I got there, I just knew immediately, this is home. This is where I came from. This is where I belong. And this is where I want to be. And everything down there that body is doing is just a story that I'm making up. It's not who I am. So I'm just floating in this wonderful, wonderful bliss, golden light. And then this white being appears in front of me. It's made of white light. His heart is a blazing blue star, and his face is Jesus. I just knew it was Jesus. And I was surprised because I wasn't a Christian. So I'm saying, "Oh no, are you sure you want to talk to me?" I'm looking over my shoulder, like, "Are you sure? You sure you come for me?" And he just looked at me with these eyes that saw everything. They saw me. They saw who I really am. And there was no judgment. There was just forgiveness and acceptance. whatever I had done, anywhere, anytime, he didn't care. He just loved me. So, and I'd never experienced that in my life. It was just absolutely wonderful. Very calm. He was so calm and peaceful. So we had this conversation in my head telepathically. And he said, because your heart is pure, if you want to, you can stay with us here in the golden light. But, there's always a but, we're asking you to go back because the world needs your love, your wisdom, and your healing. Well, at the time, I didn't know any of the stuff that I know now. I don't think I had any wisdom, and I didn't know anything about healing. But I said to him, how can I go back down there knowing that this is where I belong with you? So his heart was this beautiful blue, electric blue blazing star. He took a piece, he took one of the points off his star and he put it in my heart. And he said, now you will know that I am always with you. So the next minute, I don't know how this happened, I'm back in that hospital room. I'm floating over the body that's in the bed, knowing that if I get back into that which is not me, I will take on suffering. If I stay out of the body, if I stay up there in the golden light with them, I will never suffer again. So it was very difficult to come back into the body. It was extremely easy to leave. It was very difficult to come back because by then I knew what was real. I'd met my true self, and I knew that when I was in the golden light, this is what is real, and this is the only thing that is real. And everything else is just a story, a drama, it's the illusion that we're just playing at. But the thing was that I'd just given birth to 10-day-old twins, a boy and a girl. There was no way I was leaving my children without a mother. So I can honestly say I didn't come back to share my healing, my wisdom, or my love with humanity. I came back for my children. And as soon as I got back into the body and I came awake, everything that I had done in my life, I was a school teacher, I had a degree, I had an MA, I'd been teaching for maybe 8 years. All of that was completely meaningless. Everything I had done up till then had no meaning at all because I was not the same person. There was no me. There was no personality self. There was no my life plan, my goals, what I want to do with my life. There was no me. I just knew that there is a plan for this earth, a divine plan that is lifting it up into a higher vibration, into love and into light. I didn't know what the plan was then. I do now. I didn't then. But I just said, wherever you need me to be, let me know and I will go. So I gave up teaching, got a divorce, sold the house, just walked away from that whole life, took my twins, put them in the car, and we started a whole new life. So when I came back from being in heaven, I just kept trying to find ways to get back there. So pretty much for the next 10 years, I traveled a lot, did meditation, did healing, did dance, went to hippie camps where we did all kinds of journeying, shamanic journeying, trying to get back there. And so what happened was through that all that exploration, the other thing that I asked for was a way to take other people to experience what I experienced, but without the drama, without the biological, the body having to be taken to death's door. So I created a way of using hypnotherapy to take people to do exactly what I did, go into the golden light, meet themselves as pure essence, as divine essence, as creator, as the power, whatever you want to create. When you realize you are a creator, God, goddess, you can create whatever you want. So my whole life changed. Instead of being a school teacher, I became a hypnotherapist. And then I found that I had the gift of speech, that I could channel all of these beings. So I channel Master Jesus, I channel Mother Mary, the Ascended Masters, the angels. And now I just live a completely different life than I've probably lived in 100 places. I can't even remember all the different homes that I've had. But everything that I needed just appears miraculously. It's just because I gave my life, they've given it me back. And so now I'm always told where I need to move, told where to go, and somehow the means appears to do that, quite out of the blue. So I've learned to live on what I call radical trust, that you don't know what's happening, you don't know when it's coming, you just know that it is. So that I'm so grateful now that I had this experience 44 years ago, and so this is how I've been living my life now from such a different place.
Charmian, thank you for sharing your experience with us. When you were first ascending up into the light, you noticed that there were angels with you. Did you see them?
No, I didn't see them. I just felt the presence of angels, and I didn't know where I was going, but it was so peaceful that I knew I was going into peace. The angels were carrying me, and the angels would be with me. So there was no fear. I had no fear at all. It was wonderful.
Now, you weren't a Christian when this happened. Would you go so far as to say you were an atheist?
No, no, I always knew there was something that we can't see. I knew there was another world somehow, but religion, Christianity didn't do it for me. The closest I got was that when I was at university, I took a lot of philosophy classes and I studied Plato and the Greek poets, the Christian mystics, people talked about absolute love and absolute truth. That was Plato, and that I could relate to. That there's some, and that's what I experienced. There's something up there that is like this all creator, that is an ocean of love. That's where our souls were born from. That's where we return to when we die. So to me, that I don't want to put names onto. It's more source. It's more what the American Indians, native indigenous people call Great Spirit. That kind of. So after a while, doing the channeling, and I started having visions, and I was receiving journeys and meditations, and I kept meeting with Master Jesus and Mother Mary, and they were not at all happy about what the churches, the Christian churches, are doing in their name. So doing hypnotherapy, I was doing past life regression, and Mother Mary asked me to write a book that was their true story. So a lot of the people who come to my life are the soul family of Master Jesus and Mother Mary. So I found all these people who were with Mary and Jesus when they were here, including me, did past life regression. And from that, I wrote a whole book at Mother Mary's table. And so that is their story. And it's all kindness, tolerance, love. Don't judge anybody else. Don't judge yourself. Forgive them. Forgive yourself. And just go out there. That's what they asked of us, not to go and worship them. They didn't want to be worshipped, Jesus never saw himself as the head of this worldwide church. He just said, go out and be love with your neighbor, with your brother. Just be loving kindness, just like the Dalai Lama says, loving kindness. So that's my spirituality. That's my religion, if you like.
At one point, you were in a golden light where you feel like you could have everything you ever wanted there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that golden light is your higher self?
Yes, it's this ocean of golden light, and from that light, the soul is born, and the soul is the higher self. So the way I've seen it is that this sphere of golden light, that every soul, and this is not just humans, this is animals, all kinds of beings, it's born from the golden light. So it has the same qualities. So as a soul, as pure soul, you are love. We are love. There's no negative emotion at all. It's not even a concept. It's just love, harmony, peace, community, like wanting to come together as souls and express the love that we are.
You mentioned that there is an earth plan. Can you
Yeah.
share what that is, and do you think we are fulfilling it at this time?
We are, absolutely. I've been doing this work now for nearly 45 years, and I teach, I do activations, and I teach classes on raising vibration, raising the vibrational frequency. And what I can tell you is that there is a separation happening, that a new earth is being born, which is love, peace, harmony. It's in the fifth dimension. The old earth, where people are still playing games, power over, manipulation, control, abuse of power. The old Atlanteans are back doing that enslaving thing. Well, that old world is dropping away. So what I was shown many years ago is that there are two spirals of energy on this planet right now. One is an ascending spiral, which is taking matter back to spirit. So that one is getting a higher frequency. Over here is a descending spiral, which is all the old hierarchical control manipulation stuff. And that is a descending spiral. And it's getting smaller and smaller, and it's got nowhere to go. And so what I was told was each one of us has to choose, where do I want to put my power? Because we are all mega powerful master God beings. So where do you want to put your energy? So I'm clear, I'm here to build a new world. And this world is doing a great job of destroying itself without any help from me. So you only have to look at the outpouring of love across this planet. This is what I learned when I went back to heaven. It's not, what you care about when you leave this earth. It's not your retirement. It's not your stuff. It's not your beautiful home. It's the love. It's what you've shared. Your only legacy that you leave behind is your name written on the hearts of people that you have loved. So especially these new children, there's a whole new race of humans that have been born in the last 15 years. They're called the crystalline children of the rose, and they are already vibrating at the frequency that this earth is lifting into. So we are going to see over the next 10 years, the next 10 years are critical, that at the moment, what's happening is we're going through the birthing. And as you know, birthing is not necessarily an easy process. So what happens, this is what I was told, was that before you can fix anything, you have to see that there's a problem. So what's happening now is all of the negative energy, the dark energy is rising up like oil coming up from the bottom of the sea. It's coming up to be made visible. So, the elected representatives of our country at this time, they are holding a mirror for us. Is this what we want? Is this how we want our world to be? Division, separation, segregation, racism. Do we want this kind of world? And the answer is, if you don't, then make yourself heard for what you do want. So this earth is returning to love. The only point in question is how many of us are going with it. So it's really for every single person on this planet to say, yes, I choose love. And then do whatever comes into your world. You know, you can't change what China's doing. You can't change who's in the White House. You can change what happens with your neighbor. So I'll give you a little story. I moved into this 55 plus mobile home community a year ago, and my neighbor across the street has different political persuasions than I do. So she called me over one day, as it was the election, they all had their signs out in their garden. And she called me over, come over here. She said, are you a liberal? And I said, yes. She said, we don't want your British socialism here. She didn't speak to me for 6 months. Every time I would go, hello, she was, but her dog did. She has this beautiful retriever, lives on her deck all day. She's out there all day. So I would go over and pet the dog. So me and the dog loved each other. And then about 6 months, after 6 months, my little granddaughters came to visit, and they are 6 and 8, and they love animals. So they went over and started loving on the dog, petting the dog, playing with the dog. And the lady came out and was completely captivated by the love that my little granddaughters were showing her dog. She said, oh, your daughters are so polite. Oh, they're so kind. Well, within 2 days, she was having them on her deck for 3 hours, giving them lemonade and cookies. And that built the bridge. So now, in fact, now she's got issues with her legs. She's got a condition. She can't walk her dog. So now I'm walking her dog every day. So we did a complete 180, because the messages that I keep getting now in my channeling, in every situation, we need to be building bridges, not walls. Not seeing anybody as the enemy. Just how can love meet this person? So it might be through a dog or whatever it is. So that whole situation completely changed. My sign in my garden says humanity, community, and kindness. I don't post what my political affiliations are, because that's not who I am. I'm just here to love everybody.
This place is a drama and a story, as you were saying earlier. Why do we come here?
Well, we came because the earth asked us to. Gaia put out the call because she wanted to raise her frequency from the third dimension, where the physical world, what you see is what there is, to the fifth dimension, which is love, it's peace, it's harmony, it's beauty. And so she put out a call for the children of light to come and walk upon her body. So that's what we've been doing. We came, I myself have had, I wouldn't call them incarnations because they're not in a physical body, but I have parallel lives or bodies on many planets, on many stars, on other dimensions. Part of me is on the angelic plane. Part of me is on Venus. Part of me is on Sirius. So we came from all the corners of the universe to lift this planet into light. Now, in the beginning, when we lived here in the beginning, we lived in a continent called Lemuria. Have you heard of Lemuria? You know about
Yes.
Lemuria? So that is where the Pacific is now, or it was where the Pacific is now. And this was before what we call the fall, when we separated ourselves from our soul essence. So in the beginning in Lemuria, we all came down, we came from all the stars, from the angelic plane, and we lived in love and peace and harmony. And we were always connected by a golden cord to the golden light, to our own divine soul essence. So we manifested everything that we needed. There was no lack, there was no poverty or having to strive. So it was just, how can I help you? I've got everything I need. How can I help you? So I have a joke. I say that we lived on love, service, and devotion, LSD, and it took us into bliss without the drugs. Anyway, after a very, very long time of living in bliss, living in harmony, we made a collective decision that we were going to disconnect the golden cord, and we were going to practice living a third dimensional existence, which now included suffering. Because when we were connected to our oneness, we didn't suffer. We had no concept of suffering, of anger, of grief, revenge. All of those concepts were completely unknown to us. But when we went through the fall, we started to experience separation and suffering. So when I moved to Hawaii in 2006, Hawaii was the heartland of Lemuria. And as soon as I got there, I started crying. And there was no reason. I had nothing going on. And so I did a hypnosis and asked, what's all this about? And I was reliving the grief from the fall because it happened in Lemuria. For me, it happened in Hawaii. That we decided we wanted to separate from our golden God essence, but we really had no idea what it was going to entail, what it was going to be like. So one minute we were living in bliss, fed by this liquid golden light, and the next minute we're experiencing pain, losing children, dying from diseases, our bodies aging, war, all of that. So I asked, why did we do that? Why did we think we wanted to do that? And the answer was that in order to grow faster as a soul, instead of being all blissed out in love and harmony and everything all the time, in order to grow and evolve faster, we chose to put ourselves through hardship, pain, suffering, and to see, can we still retain our essential light, even in the face of, we've suffered absolutely everything in the thousands of years since the fall. But this lifetime, this is the finale. This is why there's so many people on the planet right now, because pretty much everybody who's ever been here is back for the grand finale. You wouldn't want to miss it, having spent lifetimes sacrificing yourself. So now we're going to go through what is called the Ascension process. And what I see the Ascension as is bringing all of our divine essence into the physical body, which we don't normally do. When we incarnate in a physical form, we only bring in 30, 40, 50, 60% of our soul, depending on how evolved we are. An old soul will have more than a young soul. But when we go through the ascension, all of our divine essence will be here in the body. So what's happening now is our bodies are going through a transformation, a mutation, literally, from a carbon base, which is like coal, to a crystalline base, which is silicone, which can hold more light. So we're literally transmuting our cells in order to hold more of our own essence. So the planet is going to ascend. And when I ask, when is that going to happen, because I would very much like it to happen now, they say when enough people are holding the frequency to a critical mass, then the whole planet will shift. So we don't have to wait for everybody to be enlightened. We just need 51%. So the most important job that any of us have right now is to raise your vibration. Doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And the way you do that is loving kindness. You just embrace everything. Go get a dog, find something to love, talk to a tree. I feed all the birds. So whatever brings you into love, that's what you need to be doing. And anything in your life that is not love, get it out. Forgive everybody, forgive yourself. Don't waste your time on anger, resentment. Anger is poisonous, and I see this all the time when I'm doing hypnotherapy. The way I do my hypnosis, I take people to experience their golden essence, their soul essence. Then we bring that down into the body and we look at where it's being resisted. And so we will see in the body there are shadows. And when I guide the person into the shadow to see what caused it, what created it, it's anger, it's resentment, it's revenge, it's harboring ill thoughts about people. So the person that you're harming is yourself. Holding on to anger is like taking poison and expecting somebody else to get sick. It's you that you are poisoning. So let it go. Just don't put your energy, don't put your attention there. You just say, okay, this happened, forgive the person, and then you walk away and you leave it all behind. So this is what I do in my hypnosis. I help people to find out why somebody's in your life that is causing you pain. Because everybody is holding a mirror for you to see yourself. Now, some people hold light mirrors and they see you as all beautiful and shiny and hippie happy and everything's lovely. Those are your light mirrors that are showing you your light self. There are your shadow mirrors that are showing you your wounding, not their wounding, your wounding. So, for instance, you have a belief that you deserve to be treated with disrespect. Guess what? You attract all these people into your life who will treat you very disrespectfully until you say, what is it in me that is inviting this, that is allowing this? And then you change that program. So that's what we do in the hypnosis. We change that I don't believe, I don't deserve, I'm not worthy, into yes, I do believe, and yes, I am worthy, and I'm wonderful, and I need people in my life to reflect that to me.
A couple of my recent guests talked about Jesus being from Venus. And since you channeled Jesus, have you heard of anything
Absolutely.
like that?
Yes, it's in my book actually. The first book that I wrote was called Coming Home to Lemuria, because when I lived on Hawaii, all my clients, all my friends were my Lemurian family. And what I saw was how we came to this earth. And many of us came from Sirius, which is where the Christ flame is held. It's the blue flame. Now, before we came to the earth, because we knew this was going to be a very challenging mission, that it was not going to be an easy place for us to be, because generally we do not incarnate in a physical body. All of our other parts of ourselves are in the fifth, sixth, seventh dimensions, just light body. So before we came to the earth, and this is answering your question, we went to Venus first. So we all met, people from all over the stars met on Venus, and we spent a long time there in being imbued with pure love, just receiving, just being filled up with pure love, which we then brought to the earth. It was going to sustain us through the difficulty. Let me tell you something else. When we were on Sirius, and I that's my home planet, basically. The other beings that we were with were the dolphins and the whales. the cats and the dogs. And we could choose if we wanted to come to the earth in a human and go through the separation, the fall, the shift, or if we wanted to stay fully conscious of who we are and come back as a whale, as a dolphin, an elephant, all the big cats, all the dogs, they agreed to come with us to help us to remember who we really are. So you go and swim with a whale, you go and swim with a dolphin, which I did all the time in Hawaii. They look right into your eyes. You can swim with a dolphin and they'll be this far away from you, and they choose that you mustn't chase them. If they want to talk to you, they'll come to you, and they'll swim in a circle and they keep eye contact with you. You have to swim really quickly, swimming around with them. They're keeping eye contact. And what I used to do is I'd take retreats over to one of the islands, and we'd go swim with the dolphins. And then I'd guide a journey to see what the dolphins were doing with us. And they were activating light codes in our DNA for us to remember who we really are, which is light beings, which is golden souls, which is magnificent creator gods and goddesses, not these very small humans that is who we think we are. We're not. So this is why in the last 30 years, since the vibration of this planet has been measurably rising. I don't know if you know about the Schumann resonance. It's a way of it's a way of measuring the frequency of the earth. Well, back in the 70s, when I think they first started doing this, it was 7. The vibration was 7 kilohertz. Now it's 15.
Wow.
So the vibration of this planet has doubled. And when we go through a spike, like a solstice, an equinox, the Lion's Gate, the 8-8, those portals, it can go up to 100. So that's why it's so important for all of us to raise our vibration. And the way I offer to help with that, I do a live Zoom for all of the solstices, the equinoxes, Easter, Christmas, 8-8, because those are when the portals are open that we can access the highest frequency. And I have all the previous recordings on my YouTube channel, Charmian Redwood. There's about 300 meditations and channelings on there. So this planet is raising her vibration, and we are the midwives. We are the ones who are going to make the difference as to whether it's an easy birth, because we're holding her in loving kindness, or whether it's a more difficult birth, and that means difficult for us. What all of these tsunamis and the hurricanes and everything is her saying, hello, children, you are hurting me. Hello, children, you are harming the body that you live on. She doesn't want to hurt anybody, but we really need to wake up and stop doing what we're doing, because we are destroying our home. We are poisoning this planet, and we need to stop now. So my preference is that all of us come out and take control of our own lives and say, this is what we want, this is what we demand, that the protections for the earth are put in place and honored.
As someone who originally comes from Sirius, have you ever seen any UFOs in the sky that are from Sirius?
Yeah. When I first came actually over Hawaii, when I first landed on Hawaii, and I had to go around all the way around from Kona down to Hilo to pick up my car. I was driving back, and there was this huge cloud over. It was one of those it was shaped like a spaceship, and it kept showing me it was a spaceship, and there were these beings there from Sirius, and they said, we just want you to know that if ever you need taking off this planet, we will come and get you, and we will bring you home. And I stopped on my way back to Kona to visit this lady who was she had bought this house, but it had a cave on the land, and she played crystal balls in there. And as soon as I got to her house, she said, "Did you see the ship?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "That was your welcoming committee." So I've seen them at Sedona. That's one of the places. Boynton Canyon, they're always coming in. I've seen them at Mount Shasta. And in England, I've seen them above Stonehenge, above Avebury. And they just, sometimes they appear as a bright star. Sometimes they'll appear as a ship. Sometimes they'll appear as a cloud, because they can cloak themselves and they can, but they always, whenever I encounter them, or it make me cry, there's just so much love. They're just so, they're so honoring of what we are doing, because what they call is the outreach. We are the ground crew that are actually making this shift on the planet. They are guiding us, they are watching over us, they are helping us, but we are the ones who volunteered to come down here to take on this physical body that has all kinds of issues, that does aging, does deteriorating. In our other existences, we don't have any of that. We are the immortals. So what's happening now, as our bodies are mutating, as more of our own light comes into the body, we won't be aging as we have been. We will be living these specially extended lifetimes. We will be glowing with golden light. So the prophecies talk about the shining ones. That will be the ones who are living on the earth when the ascension happens. So that's who we are. We will be the shining ones. So I've seen my death in this lifetime, and it was much better than my birth. My birth was a nightmare. But I don't mean my twins' birth, I mean my birth. But I saw myself in the future, and I was living in a community. Everybody was dressed in white. And the words that came in this vision was, all of these people made the shift. And I had this vision back in like 83, 84, when I didn't know much of all what I know now. And I'm with my twin flame, and we're just laying down, holding hands with flowers all over us. And we just chose to go home. We didn't need, our bodies were not aging, deteriorating. We just knew that our mission was complete. And the reason it was complete, and this will make me cry as well, was the planet was safe for the children. So we don't need to be here anymore. So we didn't die. The bodies just combusted, and we just floated up, and we went home together to the golden light where we began. So it was all very beautiful.
Do you have a timeline for when the ascension will be completed?
Well, as I said, it's up to us, but I do get the message that by 2035, it will be very obvious that a shift is taking place. So it's up to us. I'm getting chills now. It's up to us to live love, to be love, to speak love, and to convert people to love, not to a religion, just by loving people. Just make them feel loved. So this is what I do with the checkout girls, the gas station, the receptionist at the dentist this morning. I just smile at everybody. I look into their eyes and say, I see you, I love you, you are wonderful. That people are so destroyed by our ancestral beliefs that have been passed down from generation to generation. Life is hard, life is struggle, you are bad. You do anything for yourself, it's selfish, and you need to stop it immediately. I call this the Victorian legacy, and it's very toxic. So now we're having to reprogram, literally reprogram ourselves, because we've been kind of walking around like robots saying, I am such a bad person, I do not deserve anything. And now we're literally programming ourselves with self-care, self-love. These are two phrases that 40 years ago were not in our vocabulary generally. But now everybody is saying, take a day off, take a self-care day. 40 years ago, who heard of a self-care day? It was get back to work. If you're dying, if you're coughing all over everyone, sneezing over everyone, you need to be at your desk. And that's how it was when I was teaching. It was really hard to get a day off because you were expected to be there, Kleenex and all. But now it's completely different. So you can see, if you look back, certainly in my lifetime, you can see the difference that is already taking place.
Some people think or believe that Lemurians live in Mount Shasta.
Yes, that's true. That's one of in my hypnosis, I take people into many hidden cities, to Shambhala, and one of them is Mount Shasta. It's called Talos. It's a Lemurian light city under Mount Talos, under Mount Shasta, called Talos. And one of my jobs, because I am one of the guardians of Talos, I'm part of the outreach, the surface dwellers. And what they tell me, Lord Adama, who is the high priest of Talos, he says they're waiting for us. When enough of us are holding the frequency, they will open the portals and they will come out and we will see them. Some people see them already. I've seen them up at Panther Meadows on Mount Shasta. They come out of the mountain, they beam out of the mountain. And absolutely, yes, there is a Lemurian light city underneath Mount Shasta.
You also teach channeling, right?
Yes, I do. I teach channeling, and now I'm teaching the hypnosis that I do because it's so powerful. It literally changes people's lives in 2 hours. When you realize I'm not this small wounded person walking around, I'm this incredibly powerful manifester. As soon as people get into the golden light, they say, oh, I don't need to do anything. I can just be who I already am. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm home. And that was my goal. That was my intention. So now I'm teaching the hypnosis, which was never my plan, was not in my life plan. But I was doing a session with a lady, and her soul said to me, you need to start teaching this so people can carry it on after you're gone. And I'm like, oh, are you trying to tell me something? Am I going somewhere? But so I've started teaching the hypnosis. I teach channeling online, and then I teach psychic development physically in my home. And I will always travel I lead retreats if people want to bring me to do a retreat where they are. I will do that.
Well, if people want to find out more about what you're teaching and what you're up to, as well as communicating with you, should they go to a website or your YouTube channel?
Yes, both. My YouTube channel is Charmian Redwood. It's just my name. I have a whole channel. I have about 300 channelings and crystal bowl meditations on there. All of the journeys that I've done for Easters, for the solstices, the equinoxes, they're all on there. My website is Ash Hypnosis, because I call my hypnotherapy authentic self hypnosis, because that's where it brings you to, is to completely connect with your authentic self so that you can be empowered to live from that place. So it's ashhypnosis.com. I've also on Facebook, I have a Facebook, Charmian Redwood.
Before we finish up, can you leave us with one more positive message?
Yes, don't worry about what you're going to take with you when you leave this body. Think about what you're leaving behind, which is love. Know that you are loved. There's nowhere that you can go that will put you outside of the love that the Creator, that the all-loving, the all-knowing has for you. You were born in love, you are love, and you deserve love. So just be open, be willing to receive it.
Charmian, thank you for your message, and thank you for being my guest.
Thank you so much, Jeff. This was a delight. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.